Good morning, and I
Good
hope
morning.
this is recorded as well.
Yeah.
And today's topic is going to be very, very, very powerful. It's a very different topic, and I really had to dive deep into a lot of introspections and learnings. So then I thought of why not we talk about something called as synthetic happiness, and what exactly is synthetic happiness? So anything in your life that you can synthesize, that you can create, it's called as synthetic happiness. Okay, let me put you in this way. Out of so many animals, insects in this entire world, so many living beings in this entire world, I think we as human being has this amazing power that is given by the evolutions or the probably the universe, you can say, is we can see things ahead of actual thing. Yes or no? Right? The power to plan, very powerful. The moment you know that we have an amazing, powerful thing, which is called as thinking, which is called as imaginations. And this is very, very powerful. And this is something which I would like to give it to you guys also. So, what is synthetic happiness and how do you get into that? How do you create your happiness? How do you create your happiness even though if you don't have? So, I came up with a very, very powerful three amazing points. And in these three amazing points, I would also like to tell you that this is something which is not just my thought of it, but there is a lot of deep scientific researches of people who have spent more than entire life, 50 years, 100 years, has been put together to talk about this very three simple topics. The topics has been ideated from three amazing people. One of them is called as Dan Gilbert. Another person is called as Eliza Gilbert, and the last person is also called as Simon Sinek. So these three people have combined their informations. They have told in multiple places and all these things. I created a kind of a amazing crisp of all these informations, and I'm presenting in front of you. So coming to synthetic happiness, okay, it's all starts with something which we call it as a very very deep sense of what do I say, a safety. Okay, so people who are happy, they tend to be safe, secure, comfortable, and stable. Yes or no? Have you seen anyone who is happy but probably in a very very tasky situations? No. So when they reach, they accomplish, and this is what I'm going to talk to you today. Okay, the system, the three amazing systems by which you will be able to work out this synthetic happiness. These are number one. Number one is called as act. Sorry, yeah, act. The second one is called as ask, and the third one is called as achieve. Right, so we will use it in different structures to give you one thing. So what I'm talking about is a happiness. Happiness cannot be possible, it's a sense, it's a feeling of accomplishment somewhere, of expectations matching. But this is not possible unless and until you get into something called as the psychological immune system. It's called psychological immune system. So mentally, if you are not in a kind of a place of, disturbance free and task free and lot of distractions free, so you cannot get into that part. So what I'm going to talk to you about a very simple four-step process, or I can say a five-step process. The first one is called as act to ask. The majority of the problems, whatever happens to us, we always try to find the answers by ourselves. That is our survival instinct. We always try to find out what is the other way possible. But there are always somebody somewhere who is at a kind of a higher potential, who can help us to earn that, who can help us to get to that place or get to that place. The biggest problem we have is we don't ask. How many of you agree to this? Okay, I have a technical problem. I do not know which one to do. So we always need to figure it out, these amazing things. What will happen if I ask? Will he feel bad? Am I disturbing them? So this is the first part is act to ask. And act to ask has also a lot of procrastinations. Okay, is he going to charge me if I ask? So Elizabeth Gilbert, she gives an amazing example when she meets the celebrity of her life. Okay, and she was like very scared, and she was a very small kid. And everyone said you cannot meet him. It's like he's a top civil celebrity. He doesn't give time. And something happened, and she went when it was in a green room of some other events happened, and he says, I want to talk to you. And this guy said, I'm too busy. Why don't you call me back? Okay. So I said, I don't have your number. Instead, why don't you give me your number? I'll reach you back. So Elizabeth Gilbert, in the chewing gum wrapper, she wrote her number and she left it. And she was just a kid, and she went back to her school. And after many probably days, her mother says, "Did you hear the answering machine?" So in US they have this telephone where people can give answering machines, and she heard it and says, "Hey, this is so and so. I want to talk to this." And her mother didn't know about her about this celebrity. She banged the phone. It happened once more time, third time also. And when she learned about all these things, at one point of the recording machine, she got his number. He left his number. And this lady goes and talks to this gentleman. And ultimately, the meeting happens. And she has been given the kind of rightful stuff. And she is now into the blissful stage of happiness. It all starts with asking. But there are many things happen because her friends, her family, they all knew that she had given her phone number, but everyone started mocking at her. Okay, no one is going to call you back. This number doesn't work, and it was just been taken off. Because that's what. But as I said, unless and until you ask, you don't get. You don't get. So at the end of today's session, also I'll be asking you something. So this is the first part of your pursuit of happiness or your journey of happiness. This is how you synthetically create the first intent of becoming free. So there are three areas where you can think of being unhappy. We'll talk about that. It's called as war. Okay, I've not read. It's called war. Either you win, either you achieve, either you get relief. Okay, either you win, either you achieve, or you get relief. So I'm going to teach you the happiness of war. So only when you have this war, only then you can be happy, right? Either you get winning, either you get achievement, either you get relief. These are the three amazing powers. So with that, let's move to the next point. The next point is called as ask to guide. So when you go to ask, what to ask them for guidance, what to do, how to do, where to do, how much to do, and at what speed to do, which direction to do. So when you ask certain questions which are definitive to your focus, your requirement, and your definitive, this is where the second part. Most of the time, when we do certain closings on deals, this is what I do. I teach people how to close deals over a phone call. This is what I do is we ask people, the prospect, to guide themselves. Okay, why you are on this call? What are you expecting out of this call? And this one question changes the entire dimensions of the meeting, the purpose itself. And rather than we push them as a typical salesman, actually we change this entire game and they close themselves. They guide themselves. And we just keep on asking these guiding questions. We just keep on guiding them and asking them. Most of these prospects, they typically get closed within less than 35 to 40 minutes if the right questions are asked at the right time with the right kind of intent and the structures. Yeah, that is very, very powerful. And this is the second point of your happiness pursuit also, because now you know who can help you, but you need to ask the right questions. So in my community, in my places, or if you're people who are watching this video, if you need to ask me something as a guide, you need to be very precise on what specific answers you want. Okay, so if you want some technical help, you have to specifically tell, okay, I need this help in this way because I'm not getting this from this. But if you say this doesn't work, the guide will not be able to help you. Precise. The next point is called as act on guidance. Now, the guidance is just an information, and the guidance is just a knowledge or probably a smart hack that has reduced probably or probably given you that relief from reading probably 10,000 books or watching multiple hours of videos or going to some things, because he is a guide. He has given you certain things by which you can do, minimize your time. It's a time catalyst. So you need to enact and act on that guidance. The processes are there. You need to somehow implement it. You have to action it, and only then you can go to the next step. So that is the third point of your happiness pursuit. And I'm telling you how synthetically you can actually create happiness. So now you are getting closer. So the ideas that you had in your mind, the expectations that you had in your mind, now you have given it to somebody else. That is how you ask, number one. Number two, this person now creates the entire structures and gives you the guidance of what exactly are the things that you have to do in step one, step two, step three. The third thing is when you start implementing on this step one, step two, and step three with his guidance. How do you do that? The next point is called as achieve in thought. You have got that guidance. Now you've got the blueprint. You have written it down. These are the steps. This is the first time when your wish is into a reality. First time, because now you are writing it down. There's a lot of essence when I'm talking about this. I had been trained on copywriting probably for many years, and my first thing that my mentor was talking about is this, Amit, you need to hand copy all the ads. Yeah, and it was a kind of a fat book. And yes, my hands pained, but that was the first level of it because I was actually in that essence of this copywriter, this expert was able to convert and close people on his text. That's a very, very powerful thing. So the first thing is people don't practice. So the first practice that probably is required is whatever you have in thinking, you need to put it into books or probably write up. So achievement in the thought has to be documented. This is the way. So when you achieve in your thought, then you go to the next part. Then achieve in actuality. What is this? So once you have in thought, now you have the clear roles. So this is one of the another thing that I always tell is when you are thinking, don't work, and when you are working, don't think. So when you are thinking, don't work, and when you are working, don't think. So you should have clear, absolute pathway and don't get diverted. Trust on the system, trust on the process that you yourself have believed in. So once you have got 100% convictions, go, hit him. And then I'm going to also show you that is called as a 10% target. It's an amazing thing that you should learn about it. I'm going to show you right now. Now, the next thing is once you have achieved this, because when you achieve in actuality, you are tend to fail 90 times, 90% time. It's bound that there will be failures 90% times. So that's the intent. If you have that I'm going to fail 90% times and I'm going to get only 10%, then you tend to go more. And in the next slide, I will show you what exactly I'm talking about. It's called as 10% target rule. Okay, this has been taken from I think Elizabeth Gilbert when she's talking about all these things in the TED Talk. You can look at the TED Talk separately. So this part is when about guiding others to achieve. When you are going to help others. So this is like three levels. First, when you guide them, then you show them. Third thing, you let them do it and you review them. That's how every entrepreneur is supposed to be. You should know everything, but you should not do anything. Yeah. So guide others to achieve. Now, after this level, that is the last level, is let's achieve together. Let's share the burden. Let's share a win-win leadership with individual leaders performed in the systems. So this is all about how synthetically you can actually create your happiness. Now let's go to one more point. It's called as failed ready 90%. Be ready to fail. So chase what you want and not taking what you have earned is one of the idealist points that I can tell you. Okay, so don't be satisfied with what you are getting. You need to get into your way of expectations. So with that, I'll probably end to the sessions just to give you on a little bit of a note that it is easy when you just think, when it is easy to just think and just ideate all the systems and processes and all these things. And it will be difficult when you start implementing it. The first implementation is your writing things. And when you are getting into this happiness part of it is when you achieve everything and be ready to lose everything. Okay, when you achieve everything and ready to lose everything. So what I'm going to show you is the last part of it, which is called as failed ready 90%. Okay, failed ready 90%. Failed ready 90%. That means you should be ready to try anything at least around 10 times, minimum 10 times. Have I put an effort? Have I asked that questions? Have I implemented that? Have I recorrected that? Have I gone to the depth of it? Do I have all these inventories and structures and systems and processes? So the process comes only when you repeat certain things multiple amount of time. Remember this word of mine is quality comes from quantity practice. Quality comes from quantity practice. Simple. So how many times have you practiced what is required? It's a very powerful system. So if you found that this is powerful, and if you want to, now I'm telling you what to do. Now, if you want to change your pursuit of happiness on a second, and you want to ask anything, write down in the comment box, what exactly do you want? what you want, how you want, and where do you want. Find out what are those things if you want to take the guidance from. Are you really surrendering to that guide who is willing to show you the directions? And this is a very powerful thing by which I would be ending to the session is remember always this: you are too close to try and you are too close to fail. But that is also really true that you are too close to win. You are too close to achieve and you are too close to get your relief. So with that, I will end the sessions. Like, comment, share with people, and probably this is something that you want to get more. So stick on with the next sessions of such kind of a Dhamma mastery, and I will see